All right, guys, I need some help. We got this conference coming up later on in the summer, and I have no idea what I'm gonna wear. I'm thinking like probably, try and look a little professional, maybe put on some dress clothes. But with that being said, I don't like what kind of accessories do you guys rock with your dress clothes? Like, I haven't worn dress clothes in so long. Like I kind of just dress like a hobo for the most part, just because I don't care usually. But now I'm thinking, hey, maybe I got a reason to care a little bit. Um, I don't really get out much. What do you guys think? I need some help.
Why don't you check out cufflinks.com? It's kind of like the men's accessories marketplace.
Okay, so like what can I get on there then?
Prince, you can get anything on there. Cufflinks, tie bars, pocket squares, ties, socks, all the good stuff.
Yeah, they have like 58 different brands, 13 different licenses, Star Wars, Marvel, all the more traditional looks, all the major sports leagues.
Even probably have hockey.
All right, well, like I like that. I mean, I get myself some NHL stuff, but then again, I don't know if I want to out myself that easily on who I cheer for. It usually ends up being a case to make fun of me.
Yeah, we got to be looking our best though, and I've held this stuff and felt this stuff, and it's really quality stuff. I have some of the stuff myself. I have some lapel pins, cufflinks that I use pretty much every day when I go to work.
See, I don't even own any cufflinks. So I'm thinking maybe I treat myself,
Yeah, what's cool about it too is not only do they have like the more creative ones, like their upcoming Game of Thrones line, but all the more traditional ones, just standard colors and styles. It's a really good variety of dress accessories for any kind of guy.
Beauty. All right. Well, yeah, I appreciate the suggestion, fellas.
Prince, all you got to do is go check out cufflinks.com.
Yeah, and when you're there, be sure to use the promo code CRYPTO20 for 20% off your first order.
Well, I like discounts, so I'll be doing that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's go.
Round one. Fight. Thank you for tuning in to the Crypto Street Podcast. Here are your hosts, Killer Whale, Prince, and Crypto Dale.
And remember to tip your waitress.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Filling in for Dale here. This is Killer Whale. Good to see everybody. Good to have you guys here. Welcome to all the listeners. So it's a little bit awkward doing this with Dale gone. I really trust him being the host way more, but I'll do my best. Hopefully I won't let you guys down. Here, as normal, with my buddy Prince. So Prince, how you doing, bro?
Not too bad, not too bad. Happy to be here as always.
I feel obligated to ask you about the weather, just because I feel like it's standard.
This is turning into a weather show, eh? Like it's crazy, the evolution here. We always got people asking to hear about the weather. Weather's been good though, it's I can't complain. I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops, so I got a few months of the year with that kind of weather, and I gotta take advantage of it.
I feel like with the weather thing, our listeners fall into one of two categories. Either every time it comes on, they're like, oh yes, the weather, or they're just like, oh my God, just rolling their eyes. Like, why do they have to touch on this shit every time? Yeah. Anyway, our guest today is one of the more OG type people, I would say, in the space. This is a guy I remember being around when I first got involved on Twitter. Welcome, everybody, BTCVIX.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. So good to have you on. We've had a lot of people ask to have you on, so excited to do this.
Yeah.
First thing, we'd just like to ask about your history and how you got involved in crypto and how you got to this point.
Yeah, it's good to have a podcast now that I feel like is trader-centric. I've kind of lost a lot of that with all the Doug Pokes and guys that just do kind of crypto daily news. So it's nice to have somebody that's still representing the trader community by and large. I guess for me, for crypto, kind of got interested late 2012, ended up buying my first coin in the 266 bubble. Very quickly, I just kind of was looking at the exchanges and found an exchange that nobody knew about called BTCVIX. In about, I think it was April of 2013. And at the time, which most people know now as the lending market or the swap market, was going nuts there. I mean, I actually found some of my old emails of like fills that I got for 900% annualized, 1200% annualized. So those were the lucrative days, but it was always kind of a question of whether BTCVIX would be there the next day, or because nobody was like, everyone was like, I've never heard of that exchange. Good luck getting your money. So the large part of 2013, I actually didn't trade too much. I was mostly just lending until basically the bull run of the 1200 run. And for the most part, I missed most of the move up, but it was the move down. The whole year of down that really is where I probably did some of my best trading ever in my life. You had basically the ability to short on BitFinex, and then the birth of what we come to know as the futures markets now, the crypto futures markets, especially OKCoin. So those were really my primary places that I traded at the time. I still would say I'm like a short selling specialist, although it's been a while since I've taken a really big short. I didn't really play this whole move down as well as I would have liked. I guess that's kind of like my basic intro as far as my trading side. Somewhere middle of 2014, shortly after Mt. Gox, there was just a hangout community of traders, basically, just talking about charts, and we're all based on TradingView at the time. The TradingView chat kind of was the birthing place of crypto trading communities. We quickly filled up the hangout to 10 people max, which was the max at the time, and then ended up over on TeamSpeak. As one of the co-founders of Whale Club, there's a spin-off Whale Pool that you may know that mostly does the TeamSpeak side of things. More or less, some political differences led to that split. And then now we're mostly on Telegram.
Okay, and that's a massive community. Like I was checking it out earlier, and I think over 35,000 members just in the Telegram group.
Yeah, that Telegram group. I think I actually was the one like saying, "Hey, we got to actually get on Telegram," and nobody had heard about Telegram at the time. And some people like rage quit it only to return a little later. But I think it was late 2015, early 2016 that the group was founded, and we've kind of conglomerated a bit into the crypto groups umbrella, where we have lots of different groups that kind of share bots to ban bad actors and stuff like anti-spam mechanisms. So it's turned into probably what was pretty small operation with one group into a very large group into lots of groups with admins sharing information, mainly to combat spam, scam, and all those kind of things. Just make it a more pleasant place.
It's a lot of work too. So give my round of applause to you for being able to handle a lot of that stuff, because I know even we got like a couple groups like Baby Pod and all that, and nowhere near this kind of members you got, and it's just even then it's like, oh, this is a lot to handle sometimes.
It's a constant. A lot of times I wake up to 20 messages from 20 different people, and some of it's just basically like somebody got banned and they're upset, and that's kind of just like daily busy work. But I mean, when mods start fighting, admins start fighting, that's where you start to it turns into, there's a lot of politics that end up getting involved in big communities like that. Right. And sometimes there has been a bunch of just inner group drama because of that.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was really interesting as you were speaking how you when you first got in, you found this exchange that nobody had really heard of called BitFinex, and I thought this was interesting. And maybe I'm curious to hear your view on maybe BitFinex through the years, because I know when I first got into crypto, it was right around that DAO hack, and then BitFinex got hacked, and yet they're still standing today, and not just standing, but they're they are pretty much the exchange right now when it comes to Bitcoin. Why don't you go a bit how for you, just kind of experiencing that the evolution of Bitfinex?
I think too, as a trader, Bitfinex was a very early appeal because there was a time where they were really the only exchange offering leverage. Even though I wasn't really taking advantage of it too much after the 266 bubble, between that and the 1200 bubble in November, basically I realized that there was going to be a very good place to be at, because you could actually short and leverage trade. So, after Mt. Gox, that huge void that basically happened because of that event, there was a quick move over to Bitstamp because that was kind of the well-known logging established exchange. But the Bitstamp dominance really only lasted maybe a little under like 4 or 5 months. Because I remember by August of 2014, like Bitfinex had already overtaken Bitstamp, and there's kind of this is pretty well known, but maybe you guys haven't heard of it. Bitfinex used to actually do their remarketing off of Bitstamp. So remarketing is just basically to like auto-populate their books with the orders that are already on existing exchanges. Right. They're very like Alpha Point has a whole suite that allows you to do it. It's not really some secret, or it's not like evil like some people want to paint it out to be. So it'd be funny to see on the, a wall would go up on Stamp that's 500 Bitcoins, and then it literally just appears on Bitfinex. And I actually remember during the time, like they would actually show the orders being Bitstamp routed, and you were trying to get orders on Bitfinex because you'd pay less fees for it.
Right.
But then eventually they got so big that they didn't need that, and then they got bigger than Stamp. And I think that's kind of just a sign of what happened in general. The fiat on-ramps from the 1200 bubble dried up, and it was just basically a closed-end system of people trading. And once you start trading, and the ranges get tighter, and the moves are, not as pronounced as they are during the fiat part of it. People are going to move to leverage trading.
Yeah.
Actually, I pretty much so left Bitfinex though by about October of 2014 because you had the birth of OKCoin futures.
Yeah.
And
they're pushing huge volume too. So yeah.
Yeah, that really kind of was my ending of really trading there really actively on Bitfinex. I mean, I've always been like I've met Giancarlo and Phil Potter, Giancarlo once, but Phil many a times. So I always had respect for them. I always thought they were trying to lead the industry correctly. Yeah. I became pretty critical of Giancarlo, and I still am today. I don't think he's the right man to lead what is now the number one US dollar exchange in the world. He's not a trader. I don't think he really understands the dynamics and the business part of it. So Phil was a big component to that. They were running into a lot of scaling and engine related issues before the hack actually occurred. Like the data center went down, all things that were just kind of like, well, I'm over on OKCoin, so I don't really care. The hack, at the time, I still was pretty critical of everything that happened because I just felt like Giancarlo basically outsourced the entire coin storage to BitGo. Not a real good business decision. Regardless of what you want to say, who was at fault there, it was still their decision to make that partnership happen. But after the hack, I mean, they clearly did a lot of things right, and I think it woke them up. I think they did. They really wanted to return to dominance, and they more than did that.
That was and that kind of blew me away. Like I was so fresh to the whole space, and I just remember sitting in front of the computer screen watching the Bitcoin chart dropping as I have the trading view chat box, crypto chat go on, and everyone's panicking. Oh my God, Bitfinex got hacked. And you know what I mean? It's really impressive to see, I guess, what they've done because, most exchanges go through something like that. And, they're going to suffer big time for it. And, Bitfinex they've kind of really just kept on trucking and they haven't slowed down. So,
no, they haven't. I mean, now it's just, I think there's a lot more options like popping up for people to trade. A lot of people on BitMax and all these other things. So, it's been interesting to watch them evolve and enter, become the placeholder of where they were for the exchanges over the years.
And they've been through so much between the hack and all of the Tether drama, and is Tether legit? Is it not legit? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I had a pretty good sparring session over the last year or so with Bitfinex. I was even on a hangout with him and with his voice changer.
I remember that. I remember.
Wow.
There was one that was live, right? That got put out.
Yeah, it was with Jimmy Song and Tone Vase, and Flibber, who actually and I don't talk, but we somehow bonded over that to fight the evils of BitCCVIX. They definitely are lacking a bit in communication, and I understand why some people are, or why people are upset with the promises of audits that never happened.
Mhm.
Where I kind of stop is like there's this formation of false binaries that, okay, if they don't do the audit and their auditor leaves and all of these things, surely it doesn't look good, but it doesn't immediately mean that they're insolvent. There's quite a few other possibilities in there. So for me, I feel like I'm most worried about some kind of FinCEN AML concern coming down on them than I am about their solvency. Mainly because Tether's solvency isn't really as big of an issue. It's actually not the price point of whether Tether is trading at a premium or discount. It's whether the full faith and credit of BitCCVIX, a very profitable company now, will still honor that 1-to-1 peg. So from that standpoint, I'm more of just I guess I'm kind of a observer. I don't know if I don't like to take quite as harsh of a conspiratorial stance as some of those guys, and I think that's why I react the way I do. But it has to be a concern. I can't just dismiss it either.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny, we tried to have BitCCVIX on the podcast to like defend his view or at least debate it. And I think at this point, this was maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, we asked him to do it. And I think he was just like so far down the paranoid scale at that point. Like we offered to do it with a voice changer. We offered, all that stuff. We were like, no camera, it's all cool. Like a lot of people don't use cameras. But he was still just like, nope, I think people are looking out after me. People are after me. And like, we had a couple back and forths with him, via DM about getting on the show. So maybe he'll hear this and actually succumb to it. Is he still actually on Twitter? I feel like I haven't seen him in a long time.
Last I knew, he took his Twitter account private. I don't think he's been tweeting at all. He erased a bunch of his comments in Reddit. Might just be that his lawyer told him to shut up. I can only guess that. So
yeah. So I was creeping through your timeline there on Twitter, and I found this tweet that you retweeted, and I really liked it, and I kind of wanted to bring it up with you now and get your views on it. It's the technical analysis versus fundamental analysis, and it's like this. Brian Shannon compares it to snowboarding versus skiing, or hang gliding versus paragliding. But it's such a common argument we see, like at least I see all the time. It's like I'll see guys who can crush it in the technical analysis game, and they'll just crap all over people who crush it in the fundamental side of it. So I'm curious, just maybe get your thoughts on this kind of steady argument on crypto Twitter.
Well, I definitely think that the fundamental side of things probably plays out more with a lot of the altcoins that are still so like they're still so naive and young in their market development. Right. I mean, I think Bitcoin and a lot of the majors, though, for those that are more technically orientated, are much better places to play. And usually, if you're technical, you're on more of a shorter time scale than you are fundamentally. So for me, I mean, yes, I'm a technical trader. I have a bias towards that. I don't think I want to completely dismiss all of the fundamental type people. But also, with that being said, to look at market cycles where you go through a parabolic trend that breaks. Yeah. The fundamental, the fundamental narratives that pop up of why this time is different. I just kind of, I'm certainly not as believing of those when I've seen these parabolic trends break down and go through long consolidations and wreck the people that said it will never break the last all-time high, and we did that the last bubble.
Yeah.
So, or break through the last all-time high through lows. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I think fundamentals are better for the alts, and they also are more impactful for the alts. But what are you going to really say about Bitcoin fundamentally now?
Yeah.
There's some maybe government oversight and stuff like that, but there isn't like a project that's now going to be rolling out really big things.
Yeah, it's always an interesting debate. And I think, in my experience, it's really that you have to use both. I think they're both good for different things, and it's kind of got to be a combination. But there are certain periods where it's very market reliant too. I mean, during really, really strong bull runs, fundamentals mean next to nothing, because stories get created after the price moves. There's a saying that price or sentiment follows price in terms of assets. And I think it's so true because we've seen in this recent bout of volatility how quickly the narrative and the sentiment can change. Bitcoin goes up $300. People go, oh my God, we're going to challenge 10K again, and then we're going to hit 12K. And then if we break that, we're going to all-time high again. And then it goes down $300 and people are like, oh, next stop, 4,000, And I just think it's very interesting how it's all relative and it all kind of changes on a moving basis.
Yeah, I think also too, the way, when we're in the parabolic uptrend, the kind of negative news that's starting to come out doesn't affect price, so people don't have a reason to go try and seek it. And the second we start going down, they're like, oh, it's it's the Korean exchanges, it's Tether subpoenaed and all of these things, and the human mind is not designed to try and process all of the inputs that the market is giving someone and be okay with it. I mean, CNBC is like the classic reason of why when you look at the way they present news related to the market, it's like, the Fed has came out with dovish comments and we went up 500 points or whatever. And an average person that's maybe interested in the markets, they always want to know why. They think, well, something had to cause it to do that. They're not really good about saying, well, there's lots of inputs that go into that, and it's a combination of a bunch of different things. So it's just the more I deal with like non-trader people when it comes to market moving, like the more frustrating I get, frustrated I get, and sometimes I just kind of leave it alone because depending on the circumstances, it just gets me worked up and ranting about and even a lot of people that are in crypto now. I have a couple of friends, and they it's interesting because they have like a revisionist history of what happened through, say, like Mt. Gox and the China ban and stuff like that. I mean, when China banned Bitcoin in late 2013, early 2014, and people want to say, well, that was the top, China banned Bitcoin. All the time we were going down, people were like, well, it's not really a ban. Like they just came out and just said you can't use it for, like, the banks aren't going to touch it and this stuff. Well, I mean, sentiment had already been dashed. So the revisionist of history, when you're a part of it, was, well, this isn't that bad. It really probably wasn't all that bad, but the point that we went through a parabolic trend and broke it is the bigger part of that component than whatever news is coming out associated with it.
Yeah, there's always going to be a narrative, right? If they can find one, they're going to give it one. And, I think, God, we've seen some stupid narratives coming out from CNBC over Bitcoin, but, they're going to roll with it if they can. They'll find something.
Yeah, I mean, it gets the clicks, and, it's really hard to write a market piece that basically says, well, we moved for a combination of a bunch of reasons, and here's why. Like that ends up basically not getting any clicks. But if you have like headline, Mt. Gox trustee moves coins, Bitcoin price slides 30%. Oh, people are going to click that. They're like, oh wow, what's going on? So and digestibility of concepts with markets is a hard thing to learn unless you've experienced it for years. So I get why people want their narratives of, okay, well, the market did this. Well, why? There has to be a why. but there actually doesn't have to be a why.
Yeah, like, even to just kind of branch off like on that, like the amount of times in the last bit where we've seen where some news will come out and kind of like what you just said, where it's like everyone realizes it's like, well, this isn't really bad news. Like it's not like everyone would think it is, but yet price is down 5% on the day, right? And that news is going to be the narrative, and we're seeing it lots already, and I'm sure it'll continue on for as long as markets are around.
Yeah, and it's something that transfers over from like, even it happens totally all the time in stock trading. People are like, why was the market down this much today or up this much today? And the real answer most of the time is, I don't know. It's just like it's the way markets move.
There's either more selling pressure or more buying pressure. Supply and demand.
And now a quick word from our sponsors. What is up, Crypto Street? Are you trying to look fly for that special lady in your life or look your sharpest for an upcoming job interview? Cufflinks.com is your go-to spot for everything men's accessories. They have 58 different brands, including Hook & Albert, Ox & Bull, and their own proprietary brand, Cufflinks Inc. They have 13 different licenses, including Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics, and all the major sports leagues, so you can really customize your look. They have everything from cufflinks, tie bars, clips, socks, ties, bracelets, accessory bags, and much more. Encourage you to elevate your look when you get dressed in the morning. It's really going to give you that confidence to kill whatever you have coming up. Visit cufflinks.com and enter the promo code CRYPTO20 for 20% off your first order. For people who don't know, I'm pretty sure your name is a reference to the VIX indicator in equities, which is a measure of volatility. Did you have some kind of background trading stocks or Forex or something like that prior to coming into crypto?
Yeah, I was doing quite a bit of options trading prior to crypto. So anybody that trades options is basically some component of a volatility trader. And the VIX is like the most important metric to somebody trading options because the volatility of the overall market or the instrument you're trading has a big impact on the component price of that option. So it was certainly a different realm there, but I just ended up coming with it. And like the same avatar I've had for how many years now. Somebody made that just because I was like, I need an avatar that's like VIX related. So they made it like, yeah, it's whatever. It's just very I think it's like 5 years old now. But yeah, that's my background is options trading.
Well, it's good branding because I remember, I think Prince and I were talking about this like right before the episode started, how like we both remember you from when we very first joined. We just remember you were one of the people with a lot of followers.
I just remembered the name. It was like VIX.
Yeah, totally. And of course the picture as well, because like you said, you've had the same picture. And so it's like there's a kind of a brand behind that, So I guess like jumping off of that, like what's your experience with crypto Twitter been, because you've been in it for quite some time, I think. So how have you seen it evolve? How has it changed over time? Kind of go into that a little bit.
Well, I mean, other than it just exploding, I don't know. Like, I mean, I still use Twitter as probably like, I mean, Telegram is certainly when you're wanting to actually have conversations immediately with people. But Twitter still seems to be kind of the crypto, crypto sphere of what's happening in the space right now. And then, for me personally, there used to be a time in crypto Twitter where I felt like I knew almost everybody. And it wouldn't matter. Like there's people doing mining and the payment processors. Like at this point now, I've realized that the space has gotten so large and the sectors within the space have gotten so big that I can only stay focused on the trading market side of things. That's probably the biggest thing. And, we've definitely seen a crossover from like the Forex guys and now even more like the futures guys and stuff like that. So there's always new people in the space to follow that have different perspectives on things. Overall, like, I mean, I know Twitter can get toxic, but I love it. Make lists. Don't follow the people you don't want to follow. It's pretty. It'll make your life a lot better.
Twitter's been pretty funny lately.
It's funny you say the thing about like not knowing or feeling like you knew everybody on crypto Twitter at one point, because I even felt like that like when I first joined. I was like, okay, these are like the OGs, like these like 5 to 10 people over here, like these are like the new people who are like kind of getting a following, who are my friends, who like my posts, you know, and I like theirs and yada yada. But that is like kind of out the window now. Now I'm just kind of like, oh, this is a sea of mayhem.
Now there's random guys making it onto like a list for top 25 crypto influencers. Guys who it's like, where did you come from? Like, I've never seen you around here before. And, you know, it's like, these guys are flying in from everywhere.
Well, and I think on that same lines that I alluded to earlier is the crypto kind of podcast side of things. You know, you've seen a lot of guys that are like, you know, Doug Polk was an ex-poker player. They're like YouTubers, and they see the amount of money they can make just with portraying, you know, crypto-related content, which is fine. I mean, there's certainly a big niche in the space for that kind of content. I actually didn't say that I used to do basically a monthly hangout. Maybe sometimes it was even more than that, but it was all with the exchanges. So we would basically bring on, you know, we brought on BitCVIX and OKCoin and Huobi, Bittrex. We brought on like the charting platforms, TradingView, you know, just down the line. And basically the whole point of the podcast isn't to make it like, I'm not there for the views and like what's going on like today in the news kind of thing. It was from a trader panel perspective of, okay, what's your UI? Like, why is your UI so shitty? Can you move this around and change it? Can we get other like order types and different products? And to hear kind of their business philosophy to some extent, to see if, well, as an active trader as myself, is it somewhere I want to trade? Can I trade there? To me, like, and I'm actually bringing back the exchange hangouts now that we've.
I was just gonna say, is like, man, you got to get it back. You got to get it back.
That's why I appreciate you guys. You guys are talking the trader part of it, and you know, like everyone's just like all about the jump cuts and, you know, their sound bites and trying to get 50,000 views and stuff like that. So for me, like it's not as big of a. I don't need to be like super big time in the trading space. To me, I just want to, you know, it forges a lot of good relationships, and the people that I've met, like even going to Consensus this year, talking to, you know, BitMEX and the Bitstamp guys and CoinFloor now. So like all these people, I may have actually had a conversation with them on Hangouts about their exchange or whatever, and now I can actually meet them. So that part is pretty cool.
How was Consensus? Now we were talking a bit before the show, and you've been now for, you know, the last 3 years. And so I'm curious, not just for how Consensus was this year and maybe some memorable moments, but also for how you've seen the evolution of Consensus over your last 3 years attending.
Sure. Well, so I'll just make a point. So the first Bitcoin conference I attended in New York wasn't actually Consensus. I don't think Consensus existed back then. It was Inside Bitcoins, and it was at this convention center. And I remember I walked in, and like they had a fashion show going on the first floor. And I'm just kind of looking around, and like there's just like all these girls strutting and stuff, and I'm just kind of like, well, I must have walked in like the wrong place, right? And like off in the corner by the stairs, there's like a little sign pointing like down in the basement is where you go for the Inside Bitcoins conference. And you go down there, and there's probably maybe 400 or 500 people there total. Very small. We're also like, we just made that 150 bottom after like crashing all the way down for a year. So it was a pretty sobering, depressing atmosphere in general there. But met people, had a good time. I'm super, super small now compared to where we've come. Then I did go last year. Had a great time. I think the big thing was the hotel last time was way better, because when I go to these events, I don't ever buy a ticket. The networking part of things is huge there. but you don't really need to go into the event and pay $2 or $3 grand for a ticket to do those kind of things. And I found most of the people, at least from my experience, either some people wanted to go because they've never actually been in the conference, which is fine. A lot of the people are these ICOs you've never heard of, pitching something, and they're the ones that all paid all the money to go into the conference and buy the booths and stuff like that. So, to me, my advice would be definitely go to the conference hotel, but don't actually buy the ticket for the conference. So, like, everyone just basically meets around the bar area and just starts talking. And this year, I think they said they're expecting like 4,000 people or 5,000, and they got almost 9,000. So the conference itself was like some panels you couldn't even attend. Like you paid literally all this money for a conference. And like one girl I talked to, she actually said she went up into her room and like watched the live stream of it. I was like, okay, that's, like that really sucks.
Pay $3 grand for a ticket and then go watch it on live
So
stream.
I just end up at the bar. It's talking to all the people. A good chunk of people I already know. I haven't seen in a year, so that's good to catch up. Another part, I'll just start talking to whoever's around me and see what they're about. And it's very, it's kind of speed dating almost, where you talk to someone for like 2 or 3 minutes, you kind of get like an idea of what they're there for, and then you kind of move on to the next person. I'm sure anybody that was in that hotel that wasn't there for like the consensus week must have really been miserable, because the lobby was just the problem this year is the bar. Like I said, the bar and atrium area were really, they're bifurcated. There was 2 of them, and you had to kind of like, it ended up basically into the lobby where people were just standing around the statue talking the whole time. But I did talk to Pete Rizzo. He's at CoinDesk, and he says they have to be there again next year. So yeah, it's one thing. And then, we didn't even touch upon like all the after parties that go on at Consensus. If you like, party really hard and sleep the whole day away, by the time you wake up and have dinner, you're probably going to be time to go to an after party anyways.
So this has pretty much got it set then. Next year, Killer, we're going to Consensus, but we're not going to do the whole buying a ticket thing. We're just going to hang out and party and go to the hotel.
We're too cool to buy a ticket. Now we have the inside scoop.
And trust me, like you'll have no problem seeing or meeting pretty much everybody that you want to meet by not even going to the conference and spending that money on something better. And I imagine, obviously, it's very market dependent. If we go into like a long-term bear market, well, there just might be less people there anyways. So,
Were there any like highlights or lowlights from Consensus for you? Like any really good panels or anybody that really stood out as being super smart or very interesting to speak to?
Yeah, like the probably the most interesting thing was talking with some of the ICO like brokers / syndicates. I guess I never really understood their business model until I started talking to them there, and then it suddenly all made sense to me. In me, I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say a Bitcoin maximalist, but I end up trading Bitcoin more than everything else. So sometimes I don't have time to figure out all these projects and do my due diligence. So that was kind of a very eye-opening part of the conference for me to understand their business model and what they all do. So, let's see. The parties are great. I feel like I kind of dropped the ball a bit this year on like hitting the parties I was supposed to, because like I had tickets to the Snoop Dogg concert or whatever it was, the XRP thing, and then some girls wanted to come with me, so they couldn't get on the list. So I was like, well. And these are like not crypto. These are not crypto girls, so they're like all about Snoop. I'm like, okay, so I kind of let them down easy. Like, hey, I don't want to try and like stand in line and you're on the wait list. Like it could get messy. So let's just go to the Blockstream party, which was still open bar for 4 hours, which was probably a good thing. But I think of the
open bars.
I think of the 3 girls I brought there, it was probably like 70 or 80% of the entire female population.
I believe that.
Yeah, I don't doubt
Which
that.
it's still a good party. I mean, I knew the other guys there, but it was certainly like I like should I wasn't planning on staying in New York Wednesday. I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico
Right.
at that time, but I ended up staying anyways and kind of missed the whole boat party, which I heard was like crazy and should have went. So I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for not not doing a little bit better organization there.
I'm getting like belated FOMO listening to you talking about these
Yeah.
after parties and stuff. Like, I really wish I had gone now.
Well,
So yeah, already looking forward to next year.
Next year, like even I think I actually I told Pete that like how do you make this whole consensus conference and you didn't even start a Telegram group for consensus? And before everybody hearing this makes one, but you know, it was like that. And then the other thing too is it'd be nice to have like a calendar of all the events going on. He claimed there was one, but I guess I don't usually go on their site enough to know. Yeah, I mean, it's a great time. Definitely, if you've not gone, you'll leave. I think even people that have been in the space and you have just you guys have a following now and you've been on here bringing on traders. It's great to meet up with all of them, talk to them,
Yeah.
and meet all the other people too. I mean, I'll talk to anybody. I don't care if they have an ICO that I don't care about. Sometimes it's just interesting to see how they like view the space, and for me to be like, I'm getting really bearish now. Yeah, I'm getting really bearish listening to you because you think that.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on something. Obviously, it's very current. You mentioned that you trade Bitcoin more than most other coins, and that I think you mentioned earlier that you specialize in shorting. So, what do you think about Bitcoin right now? As we're recording this, we have dipped below 8,000 again. We're sitting at about 7,900 right now. So, kind of just give us your thoughts on Bitcoin, maybe short to medium term, where you think we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was a little bit more bullish early May. I mean, not for the whole like consensus pump narrative shit that's out there, but I just felt like we were going to have maybe an attempt at the 12K level. And, it would have led to a nice like MACD weekly turn, just enough to get people super bullish again and then bear trap them into oblivion. But we never even got there. So now I'm like kind of in the reevaluation mode of, well, are we just going to roll over and die here? Or do we need to spend more time here? I actually am, I think overall, I don't think we're going to make a new high over 20,000. I do think we'll roll over and go into a bear market for 18 months. And, all the scammers and spammers and, the noobs are going to get wrecked and Telegram's going to self-cleanse, go on. So, yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's a depressing one.
I like it. It's the kind of answer I would give, so it's good. It's vague, but it's very much so, trading Bitcoin. It's pretty much, it's how it is. It's like,
yeah,
you get these little looks and it looks a certain way and it's like, okay, well, let's see, it's just playing the odds, playing probabilities, and who knows.
We'll say Prince loves a bearish prediction as well. There's a reason we call him the grizzly bear. A couple of reasons, but that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I'm still looking for, I could still see us going and making new lows, but honestly, kind of like you were saying there, where you thought we would get the 12K push. So I was thinking we would get that 12K push and then probably push it a little higher to really suck them in before we go down. Now it's kind of acting like this. I don't know, maybe my whole idea is wonky. So
I find myself, other than kind of the impulsive moves where you go parabolic and then you crash and then you kind of sine wave out, basically. We're kind of in that part of the market structure now. There's not a lot of trading opportunities other than some scalps setting up. So to me, I do a lot of no trading. Mainly because I just don't feel confident in the setup, and I don't feel like it's even worth entering those positions when I'd be better off just doing some other stuff with my time right now. And that's a big part of becoming a trader is learning when not to trade.
Absolutely. I think, you can't lose money if you don't enter a position really. So, and I think that's the biggest thing is especially when you're kind of newer to trading, you feel like you got to be trading, all the time. It's like, even if the opportunities don't really look that good, you got to be in a position somehow inside. You're like, I have to have a position. And I think, it's a real, I think it's a maturity difference that comes with it where it's like you can comfortably just sit on the side and just say, it's not my time right now.
It's really hard to have the patience sometimes.
There's a movie actually called Floored. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
No.
Floored, is it Floored into the pit?
Yeah, I mean it's about basically the like dying breed of the pit trader in Chicago.
Yeah. I think I've watched it a bunch on YouTube multiple times. I thought it was pretty fascinating.
I really think it's one of the few like documentaries that is very like speaks to the trader, because it's not just kind of like, okay, this is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and these people trade. Like they bring traders on and you kind of go through their like trading emotional life. And there's some really I think the one guy there's a couple guys.
Greg Rebus.
But I actually like the other guy that said he said something to the effect of I never went on vacation when I was a trader. Like I hated vacation because that meant I was away from the market. And as a trader, when you get away from the market and there's a move, you're thinking about all the money you missed out on. You don't think about maybe you'd have been on the opposite side of that trade and got your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most interesting thing, especially with Bitcoin, there is no market close. There's going on vacations. Sometimes you spend more time looking at the chart and kind of stressing over, what could have been. And that's a very hard thing I think to deal with is not the element of loss, because you can close that chapter and accept it, but missing out I think can be more like mentally damaging to a trader, emotionally damaging to a trader than actually taking a loss.
Yeah, I know personally, like when I first got involved in crypto, I mean, it was hard for me to step away from the screen for a little while, because I got involved during the Monero bull run of August 2016. Listeners have heard me say this a million times, but it was just going so high so quickly. I could not look away. Like I was staying up all night. And it's really hard to kind of get away from that, because even when I'd go to run out to McDonald's to get some food, it was killing me that 20 minutes going through the drive-through. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss something huge here.
For me, I found it was the craziest experience coming into crypto from trading stocks for I started trading stocks when I was just getting out of high school. Traded them for about a year and a half, 2 years. Got my ass handed to me, and then I come into crypto, and it's it never stops, it's 24/7. And then you find yourself in the middle of one of these altcoin pumps. And, I remember coming over and it was oh my God, this thing doesn't stop. This is the craziest thing I have ever seen, So all of a sudden, you're pretty much going full degenerate, just staring at the 1 minute chart, just in awe, right? And then it's you just want to be playing it. And I remember that was a really tough transition for me just coming in, because it was this stuff is just insane. It doesn't slow down. It's just nuts.
Well, markets and trading specifically is not a linear profession. You can't just be okay, I have a 40-hour a week job. Oh, let me just trade 40 hours for the week. And that's why people overtrade. They're okay, I'm sitting in front of my screen, I need to place trades now. But a lot of times, and even my trading career, I find that a lot of times maybe 1 or 2 big trades or 1 or 2 weeks in the year make probably 80 or 90% of my profits for the year. So during those periods, that's kind of all you do. You don't sleep. You spend all of your time in front of the charts, and then when that opportunity goes away, you stop. You got to stop looking at the chart and try to stop trading it, because you're trading chop now. I think it's a really hard thing for a trader that's, especially most people come from a very linear job of, okay, I put in this time, I get paid this much. So that to break that mindset it's difficult.
That's a battle all on its own.
Yeah, everyone, keep that in mind if you're one of those people thinking about quitting your day job to trade crypto. A lot of patience is required, exactly like you said, and that's a super hard thing to do. And it's hard to wrap your head around the idea that literally, 3 to 4 trades, maybe even 1 to 2 might make your whole year. But it's certainly applicable.
It's crazy to think about that, right? Because on average, people aren't going to look at it that way. That all they need to do is make one, sometimes it only comes down to one trade a year, and that one trade has just got you laughing like, wow, this was awesome. You don't need to make a ton of trades, and you can have a really successful year. And I think, a lot of people, they don't look at it that way when you're first getting into it, but then you're in it for a while. And I think maybe there's a little case of, I don't want to be staring at this chart all the time. I want to have a bit of a life outside of the chart. And you realize that you don't need to be, chasing everything, trying to play every move on every coin.
Well, and, I have a lot of issues with kind of like a lot of the truisms that get thrown around in trading, the trend is your friend and, kind of start on no leverage and stuff like that. But also one of them is, okay, just step away for a while in trading. You're on tilt. Well, to me, I'm a degenerate gambler, so I can't just like the fix of gambling doesn't just instantly turn off and I can go play bocce ball or something. Yeah. So usually I fill a lot of my time with sports betting just to just to basically keep myself from entering positions I shouldn't enter. I'd rather just study whatever's coming up for sporting events and play it that way.
I gotta say, you bringing that up, it's the craziest thing to me because I've just, in the last few months really gotten into it. And, I made a tweet about it. It's like fight fire with fire. Here we go. I'm going to stop from over trading by getting into sports betting. But I'm telling you, anyone listening, for one, I've been pretty profitable with my sports betting, but it has helped my trading tremendously because it really has I have that gambler itch and it's really easy to kind of succumb to it and want to hit up the leverage and go mexing or something. And then, it's just a stupid trade and you shouldn't be doing it. But the only reason you're doing it is just because you want a little something, right?
Yeah, you need your fix, right? That's the whole point. Yeah, I'm there too. Where I just and it depends. Like at the early on, this is probably the slippery slope of degenerate gambling. I was betting pretty small and it was just something to pass time. Now some of my bets end up being kind of larger sizes than my average handle of trading. So I know I think one of your podcasts you guys were talking about, I think you guys actually talked about betting WNBA.
Oh, someone brought it up. Yeah, someone in the chat.
Well,
yeah.
I mean you actually have to watch the sport, which is kind of the downfall.
Yeah. I've noticed, it's funny. I was just going over today my record for the last 3 months with all my betting and all my games. And, because it's really, I've just been getting into it. And so it was a good eye opener to me getting all the statistics on it all. If I bet MLB, I have a 90% chance I am losing my money. Same thing happens when I bet on soccer. I will lose my money. It's but if I go bet hockey, I good odds I'm going to make money on that game. So it's kind of funny to see that because I had to learn, don't just bet for the sake of betting. At least know what you're going to freaking pick.
Kind of similar to trading. It's you got to find the style and the sport that works for you. Yeah. Something that better than most or something that you have the emotional capacity to handle better than most. So very interesting to look at those two parallels between gambling and trading. We talk about it all the time and so many people come from gambling too. Mm-hmm. Anyway, guys, we got to wrap this up. But Vix, thank you very much for being a guest. Do you have anything else that you want to tell the listeners or where they can find you or anything else you want to convey to them?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BTCVIX, Telegram, same handle, the Whale Club groups. A lot of the communities, Coin Farm for the shit coins. So that's pretty much where I hang out most of my time.
Sweet. Cool. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're listening to this. Tip your waitress. We'll see you next time with Dale. Peace.